fuel with renewable energy. Much of that progress, of course, would not be possible without all of you, without your support for Measure R. We owe a great debt of gratitude to the voters for having the foresight to invest in this sales tax increase. Now, a half a penny for every purchase goes to building a 21st century transit network you deserve. Without your investment, we would only have built the Orange Line, Expo Phase 1, and perhaps the Crenshaw Line as a bus rapid transit, not as a light rail line. Instead, we will double the size of our rail system and finally deliver on the vision of a truly regional transportation system in Southern California. Now, every year, we'll eliminate another 500,000 pounds of pollutants from our air, reduce our use of gasoline by 10.3 million gallons, and reduce the miles driven on our roads by 191 million. Now, Los Angeles invested in this vision in November 2008 in the midst of a crippling recession. We decided to be bold and build a better Los Angeles. We then decided to do it faster, and we set out to harness the tremendous economic potential of this building project and accelerate it. You see, when people ask me, so we just passed the half-penny sales tax, where's your subway? Where are all those light rail lines you passed? And I joke and I said, well, ma'am, that was a half-penny sales tax, not a 10-cent sales tax. If you wanted a 10-cent sales tax, we might be able to do it in 10 years. But it got us thinking. And I want to acknowledge Jaime de la Vega and Borja Leon, who are here today, who helped us think out of the box and think of ways to accelerate that funding, to put it to work now, to create the jobs, to clean the air, to move people in a way that none of us had imagined was possible in 10 years. You see, it would take 30 years to complete the construction of all these new projects, as I said, and in the face of double-digit unemployment, we couldn't wait 30 years to realize the powerful economic investment that voters made in our region's future. This is why we launched the 3010 initiative. To ask Congress to provide the financing tools we need to begin building each of these projects I've described, among others, all at once. We would take advantage of low construction costs, build in 10 years what normally would have taken 30 years. Now, facing some opposition, you know, I just left the LA Live. We had opposition when we wanted to expand LA Live. We had opposition when we wanted to build a convention center hotel. We had opposition when we wanted to expand our convention center and put a football field. But every time we've met with opposition, we've worked with that opposition to move the ball ahead. And in this case, to move the train ahead. So facing some opposition, as I said, and some is speaking mildly, we expanded our approach nationwide. We call it America Fast Forward. Now, America Fast Forward is part of the Boxer-Inhofe Surface Transportation Bill in the U.S. Senate. It will deliver jobs and investment, not just in Southern California, but in places like Milford, Ohio, Blairsville, Pennsylvania, Elizabethtown, Kentucky, Kennesaw, Georgia, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, Coppell, Texas, and Anniston, Alabama. Now, this isn't some random collection of points on a map. These cities and towns are among the dozens and dozens across America where men and women working in factories, design studios, machine shops, and laboratories produce the components and provide the services that keep our regional transportation infrastructure up and running. The millions that we invest in transit flow to businesses, large and small, and create hundreds of thousands of jobs. So let's make this as clear as possible. Transportation investment equals jobs. When Americans are working and paying taxes, they're spending money. Two economic drivers our economy needs badly now to recover. Now, it's a sad comment on the quality of our public debate that such an obvious fact is met with skepticism in the Congress. I hear that they're writing about how many times I go to Sacramento and Washington, D.C. Well, I tell people, write all you want. I'm going to schlep to Washington, D.C. as many times as I need to fight for jobs for Angelenos. And I'm going to be there saying to the Congress that the #1 deficit facing the nation is the jobs deficit. And mayors all across the country have joined me. We now have more than 124 mayors that have gotten behind what was 30-10 and now is America's fast forward. We actually have bipartisan support for dramatically increasing the TIFIA loan program, a loan program that was underfunded at about $122 million a year, and that now will generate, will have about $1 billion a year. Now, it's hard to believe, but we face the very real possibility, even with all of those mayors chiming in, and so that you understand the magnitude of the 124 mayors. If you just took LA, Chicago, and New York, we're the size of France. 5th largest country in the world when you look at our metropolitan GDPs, or economic output. We're not a nation, so we don't have a GDP. But if you took the top 10 metropolitan areas, so just 10 of those 124 mayors, we're talking about a $5 trillion economy approaching the size of China, about 1/3 of the U.S. economy in those 10 cities alone. So when we knock on the doors of Congress, we're not representing just a few people. We're representing the nation's engine of economic output. Now, notwithstanding that, we face the very real possibility that Congress will fail to move with purpose on the one issue most Americans were pondering this weekend. I dare say that most of you were pondering this weekend: how to keep or find a good job. Political gridlock and gamesmanship have done little to help Americans find a job, get out of poverty, or avoid foreclosure. The very first step that Congress must take when it reconvenes is to buckle down and work quickly this fall to pass the full reauthorization of the Surface Transportation Bill, the Boxer-Imhoff bill. Now, understand that as late as last night, John Mica is joining Senator Boxer in fully funding at current levels that bill. If that can happen, that's going to mean more than 1 million jobs, which would have been at stake if we had gone with the lower funding. With that, along with the expansion of TIFIA, nearly 2 million jobs that could be created, historic unemployment and growing poverty rate across the country. There's no more important issue facing the Congress. This is job #1. Now, across the country, you can hear a bipartisan chorus, including the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the AFL-CIO, and as I said, over 120 mayors, singing the same note and urging Congress to invest more, not less, to meet our pressing infrastructure needs. And when people ask me what infrastructure is, it's simple. It's repairing our roads, our highways. It's repairing our bridges, our ports, our airports. It is investing in the economic foundation that will bring our economy back. It's investing in you and in our future. Now, across California, we face a 12% unemployment rate, a growing poverty and foreclosure.